And me say, hey, 60 years of moving. And me say, hey, from Parkinson we hailing.
Well, good evening and welcome to all you viewers. Parkinson at 60. In the bosom of Pine East West Boulevard, an institution of excellence was birthed. It was once dubbed a comprehensive school, and then the name later changed after it was named after Royal Parkinson to the Parkinson Memorial School. A school that has done outstanding work throughout the world, not just in Barbados. A school that is really a community school. In our last two episodes, we looked at a general picture of Parkinson, where we spoke to some past educators at the school, past students. Then the second episode, we looked at Parkinson on the field of play. Basketball, cricket, netball, football, track and field, table tennis, even chess. And then we were told Parkinson also had a little ballroom. But how can we examine 60 years and not look at Parkinson through the eyes of the cultural arts? The name Pinelands Creative Workshop will jump out at you. The name Edwin Yearwood. The name Janice Mullins Sargent. And then in the modern times, there are two teachers who would have been very instrumental helping to continue that legacy. Sheldon Hope and Randy Eastman. Later, we expect to be joined as well by the General Edwin Yearwood, who has taken soccer to the world. Panel, welcome, and I want to thank you for joining me this afternoon as we look at Parkinson at 60 through the theatre arts. Welcome.
Yes,
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Good.
Thank you for having me.
On my far left on my screen, which I think you all will be saying the same thing I'm saying, is a guy called Rodney Grant. I'm at loss as to his age because when I was at school, I heard about Rodney Grant. I finished school, I was doing work with Rodney Grant, and he would want to tell me that he's not yet 60. I have difficulties about that. Randy Eastman whispered in my ear that Rodney has to be about 105. That's what I was told by Randy Eastman. But Rodney went to school at Parkinson, got involved in theatre. Coming from Pine, then he went straight into Pinelands Creative Workshop, which was not just a drama group or a dance group, but Pinelands was an institution in itself, believe it or not, based on the Parkinson, giving back to the community. He's done so many things with Pinelands Creative Workshop. Dance, drama, music. At one time, there was the Pine Calypso competition. Then they have a feeding program, a building program. This past student of Parkinson has taken that institution and taken it to the world. Janice Mullins Sargent, again, a part of the alumni, Richest Out finalist, a singer. I wish she would do more singing. And I'm going to give Sheldon and Randy the challenge to get her back behind the mic. She has to do a recording, guys. And then she's decided to go into the field of insurance. And whenever you look at the papers, every single year, top agent, Janice Mullins Sargent. Edwin Yearwood, the name speaks for itself. From playing as a shy boy in the corner of the school hall, Edwin Yearwood has taken the world by storm. And we know when Edwin even went into the Caribbean Song Test, doing great things in the band Crossfire, even as a solo artist. And we expect him to join later. Tiffany Breedy, I don't know a lot about you, but what I've heard from Randy Eastman is that in your quiet corner, you're using your work to do ministry, sing gospel. And we want to welcome you to this esteemed panel. When I heard that Sheldon Hope was going to Parkinson years ago, I was like, Sheldon Hope? Really? And I was so pleased because he came on the heels of persons like Mr. Leon and those. And Sheldon, my friend for many again, doing well in the Caribbean Song Contest, coming here and bringing that background, the lead singer with the band doing an internship with Berkeley. Sheldon brought lots of experience and is risen to the ranks, senior teacher at the school. Randy Eastman, who did not go to the University of the Pine, Rodney. He didn't go to the University of the Pine. And we do sympathize with him, Janet. We do sympathize with him. But like Sheldon, he has embodied all that is Parkinson. Although know that he seconded a big ministry, when you look at his repertoire, and we're going to play some of the music that he would have recorded while there as a teacher. I hope you can find the music, Randy. He, along with Sheldon, they took again, because as you know, things go through stages. You had the Clyde Lloyds, you had the Vivian Richards, you had the Brian Lara. So let's call these two guys the Brian Lara of Parkinson School. So they took what they found, reshape it, repackaged it, and took Parkinson to a different level. We want to welcome all of you. My name is Carl of Padmore. My claim to fame, I don't know. I know for the first 3 terms at school, they said I was talkative. First term, still talking, doing well at school. Third term, still talking. The teachers have to apologize to me because what I'm doing now, I'm talking and I'm being paid to do that. Welcome, everybody. Good. We're going to start with you, Tiffany, saying that you are the youngest one here. Uh, what years did you go to Parkinson? Your mic is still good. Good. Talk to me, Tiffany.
What year? I started in 2002. Yeah.
2002.
Yeah,
Wow. So
2002.
you're the
Yeah.
baby here. And
Yeah.
were you always interested in music when you went
Yes,
to
I
the
was
school?
always interested. Yeah. I was always interested, but shy.
But shy.
Yeah.
Those two guys below you, which one of them took you by the hands and said, "Come, sing"?
Mr. Sheldon Hook was a part of that progress. He was our choir director back at school. Very strict.
He was strict. Sheldon Hope was strict.
Yes, he didn't play. Mm-mm.
Tiffany, tell us. I'm going to mute his mic. Tell me about that. How strict? Give me an example.
Like, for instance, if we had to go to sing, he would tell us what not to drink and make sure make sure we do our warm-ups, and he was always on point.
He ever punish anybody?
No, but he gave us a stern talking. He never played. Mm-mm.
Oh, so
Yeah.
Sheldon is the strict one with the choir. What about Mr. Eastman? Also strict as well?
I know Mr. E. Smith. When I left after with my group G Harmony, he helped us along the way and give us tips, and and help me also in doing recording with certain songs and stuff.
Okay, so you only sing one genre of music, or you can sing other genres?
I only sing one genre, yes.
Oh, okay, okay. Now you're the baby in the group, so you have to let those who are logged on from throughout the world to hear you. We want to hear Tiffany Breedy. So Tiffany, you take your deep breath and you give me 10 seconds of something.
Okay. You call me out upon the water, the great unknown, where feet may fail. And there I call you in the mystery, in oceans deep, my faith will stand. And I will call upon your name and keep my eyes above the waves. When oceans rise, my soul will rest in your embrace, for I am yours and you are mine.
All right, all right, all right. Now I'm going to ask one of your teachers to grade you now. Uh, we're going to ask. I've seen a guy here. Janice, do you know that guy that just invaded the place?
He looks very familiar.
He looks familiar.
Like general.
The
Good
general
evening.
who?
Good evening, everybody.
Good
Yeah, I
evening.
see Rodney. Rodney in the chat. Rodney, salute to you, sir. Big respect to Rodney, boy. Hello,
Tiffany.
everybody. Well, I see it.
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
hi,
Thank
Sheldon.
you.
Edwin. Welcome.
Good
Good evening,
evening.
everybody.
Edwin
Sheldon,
here.
hello to you. I seen everybody here. One word. All right, let me behave.
Good. Did you hear Tiffany sing just now, Edwin?
Yes, I was in time to hear her singing.
Wow. So, Tiffany.
You're asking my opinion? She gone clear a long time. Gone clear a long time. I hope you're asking my opinion. She gone clear a long time.
Sorry,
So
Tiffany.
just let me say quickly that I'm glad to be here. I happy to be in the chat. I'm sorry to be a little late, but I want to tell one of the truth why late. So just left it there.
Okay. So Tiffany, good job. Keep doing your ministry.
Thank you.
Parkinson is 60. How do you feel to be part of an institution like this? 60 years, Tiffany. Talk to me.
I'm very proud because it brought a lot of people like Edwin Era and a lot of instrumental people along the way in our industry right now. And to be a part of such a strong body, I'm proud.
Okay. Now, gentlemen and lady, you need to forgive me. Because Rodney and myself are the only two here representing theater, we know we might get nominated with the music. I'm going to go to Rodney. I'm going to come back to you, musicians, and all of you people who use your vocals. I don't know if Rodney can sing. I can't sing. Rodney, Victor Clifford, Earl Warner, Darcy Boyce, Hammy Lashley. Let us paint a picture. You at Parkinson, and let's look at some of those builders in that genre, Rodney.
Yeah, no, definitely. Parkinson produced a lot of big ones when it comes to theater. Everybody know the great Darcy Boyce for sure. Earl Warner, one of the foremost directors in the region. Um, I think he ended up directing a lot of plays in both Trinidad and Jamaica and across the region as well. The last one actually that we did with Earl was one of astonishment. I think we did it at Parkinson in 1991, 92, something like that. Then you got people even like Parks. A lot of people know Wayne Parks Riley, who's a
Yeah,
technical person
correct,
with
correct,
Darcy with
correct,
DP Production. Parks
correct.
also went to Parkinson. Then you got Anthony Bourdieu, who works at who used to work at NXC. He know retired. Bourdieu also went to Parkinson. Yeah, John Collamer, who also worked in the insurance industry. John also went to Parkinson. You had Peter Sambina, who was the brother of Raw Clark, also an outstanding actor. Unfortunately, he passed, I think, last year during COVID. He also went to Parkinson as well. So Parkinson produced outstanding actors and people in the field of theater who went on in both technical and acting as well, for sure.
Okay, thank you, Rodney, because I'm going to come back to you of that partnership with the school and with Finance, but I just wanted to give us theater dramatists, people, the talkers, a little plug, because you know the singers down here, they're going to do
But
their
that's all
thing.
right. We could talk about music too, not necessarily as singers, but in a different capacity.
That's right. Of course, can. Now, Randy, let me go to you, because you're not at the school at present, but you would have written a number of policy programs to take the music forward. You would have worked with Sheldon. How was it, first of all, coming into the school? What did you find with the music program, and what motivated you to take it further?
First of all, good evening to everyone, and it really is an honor and a pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me. Um, Being a member of the Parkinson School staff and coming on to the team, because I always refer to things as a team, uh, it was overwhelming at first because I was never a teacher before that, and I want to support Tiffany because Mr. Holt was strict. Because what I did, I said, you know what, I want to learn how this guy teaches. So I would go in the classroom, and when I'm off, I would sit down in the class and watch him teach. And when he offers those strong words of discipline, I found myself there like shuddering and like, you idiot, you're not a schoolboy anymore. You're actually a teacher. And he was very firm, and learning the craft of teaching was it was a overwhelming experience for me at the time. When I came to the school, the program was vibrant. We still had a lot of activity going on. Children were very enthusiastic at the time, but we needed to take it a step further. Mr. Hope and I always sat and spoke about the direction of where we would want to go and the kind of things that we would want to see. And one of those things that came to the fore was performance and live performance, right? And I was always an advocate for practical application of music within the classroom because at that time I had a burning desire to get into music education and develop the methodology and the pedagogy that is associated with music education. And we charted a path towards developing performance and honing the skills and the musical ability of the students at the time. So the direction at that point in time was to develop that performing element.
Okay, now coming through your hands, I think I want to make sure I get it right. Amber Orana, who actually was the youngest female to headline at Reggae on the Hill. Is that correct? At age 13?
Correct.
13. And then she also opened for Luciano, Tanya Stevens, Admiral Tibbet. And currently she's pursuing a degree in software engineering, which is good.
Yeah.
Matthew Trotman would come through your hands as well. A Shamar Coombs. Edwin, there's a Shamar Coombs who's actually the stage engineer for Marshall and for Barris, a Parkinsonian. So we are proud of the work that you have been doing, Randy. I don't want you to go far because I'm going to come back to you soon because I want you to pull up the Parkinson and define the Kaiso track. I want to play something from here. So we're going to go to Sheldon and then we'll go to these two old scholars that telling lies, but you two at the bottom there. Sheldon, talk to me. Your personality, always bubbly, but then this serious persona. How important was it for you to teach, to use music to help teach life values and life skills as well?
First of all, good evening to everyone. Thank you so much for having me. Certainly, from very young, I wanted to be a teacher, so I knew that that was my aim and my mission in life, to be a teacher. I knew that was my calling from very young. So I credit persons like Mrs. Marlene Abrams, who was the former principal of the Grantly Prescott Primary School. She taught me at the Sharon Primary. I also credit persons like Mr. Hallam King, who was my principal at the Kojan Parry School, for their discipline and the way that they treated students. When I saw how they interacted with students, that really I gravitated towards teaching. I did not know at that time that music would have been my focus, but that just grew as I matured. I joined the staff of Parkinson in 2006, January 2006. So it would be 15 years that I've been at the school. And certainly coming into the institution with obviously ideas, it was important to get to know the students and allow them to get to know me and my standard and what I stood for. I must admit to you, as Randy would have said, you know, I think that students respond to teachers who stand for something. If they recognize that they can topple you over quickly, that's not going to work out at all. But when they recognize you stand for something and you are firm but fair, you don't have anything to worry about. And I found that in the 15 years that I've been at the school, and we've been able to really help a lot of students and give them a pathway out of maybe where they were headed originally. You mentioned a young man there, and his story is so fascinating. I'll tell you, Shamar Coombs' story is one of the most fascinating stories that you could ever hear, because he was on a trajectory. Let me tell you, if God didn't save him, I don't know where that boy would be. I'm very, very serious. Shamar was a serious customer, very angry, very aggressive. And Mr. Eastman one day said to him, I want you to work with the tech team, just taking down the speakers and putting them up for, I'm going to show you what to do. And that changed that boy's life from Parkinson to now, that he can emerge as one of the top engineers, not only in Barbados, but throughout the Caribbean. So, we took music because we understood the impact that music has on young people. And we showed them a better way. A lot of persons sometimes, as you would have said, would hail my contribution, but I must tell you that Mr. Eastman has really been the driving force for all of those years that we were there. My focus started to shift a lot, even away from the music, even more into the administrative side of things. Now, in my role as a senior teacher, I am even less involved in the music. But in those years, Mr. Eastman would have really played a great role when he came in and writing all of those. That's his area. You can't write a document like Mr. Eastman. Let me tell you. I mean,
Is he a budding politician? Is he a budding politician, Sheldon?
he loves politics and he will drop some frandelic words on you. But I am not sure that he really wants to go into to politics. But we worked well,
All right.
and I think that it was a good synergy between Mr. Eastman and myself as we worked with the students.
All right, I want you to pause. Janice Mullins Sargent. At school, we call her Janice Mullins. Janice, how are you? Welcome. Tell us about your days at Parkinson, and then what really got you involved in music. This little girl above you, Tiffany, she doesn't know who Janice Mullins is. Paint us in about 2 minutes this journey of Janice, the musician. I mean, Sheldon and Randy, you all ever heard her sing? Once. Okay, Janice, tell me your story. Because your boyfriend next to you will tell us all your secrets. We don't want him to talk yet.
Well, good evening, everybody, and thanks for having me. It's a pleasure to be here. And I has always been a proud, wait a minute, let me adjust a proud Parkinsonian. Always been. On whatever, upward, forever. No, I entered the school in 86. Sorry, 1980. I left in 86. And it was a great journey. I remember people always say school days are the best days. It really is. We had awesome time at school. I always go back to school days and see what caused me, what molded me into the person I am today. And I am pretty sure that my days at Parkinson are responsible for me being the person. I regret nothing about going to Parkinson. I had an awesome time. I started singing at school, actually.
Really?
I always wanted to be a singer. Somehow I wanted to be I could sing and I wanted to sing. But so I sang at school. There were a lot of concerts and a lot of events to sing at, and we would all sing. Remember when Edwin won the Teen Talent show, it really impressed me. And then I went into the Teen Talent competition as well. Well, I didn't win like him, but I started to do music otherwise, like calypso and doing background vocals, singing in tight. So I continued my music.
Did you do background vocals with?
Well, Untouchables, that was my main group. I worked with Square One with the Untouchables. So I had a little bit of dabbling there. But then after, going forward, I was introduced to a different field, a whole new ball game. And I got into it and realized I could do right there, and I stayed there. And that's insurance. That's where I am today. But
okay, let's go next door to this guy who has a dike on his head. I want the public to know that this young man, I'm looking for a policeman. So around you look like a police. He has tried to kidnap my mother. And I am sending out a notice. I told my mother I'm going to speak about it. Randy, he goes out of his way to kidnap my mother. I want everybody to know Edwin Yearwood is a mother thief. He's my brother. Edwin, I can still picture the piano in the corner of the hall and your lady Miss Hunt there. Tell us about that. I mean, whenever you perform with the band on your hand. Your love for Parkinson. Go ahead, sir.
Well, firstly, let me just make sure. Good evening to Shamar. Shamar, the men know the work that you just do. Respect to you.
Yeah, thanks, man.
Yeah, real talk. Sheldon and this fella that owned the studio that Well, let me come to the studio, Randy.
Don't do
Just
that,
just say,
Edwin.
just say,
Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. Tell her the truth. Tell her the truth.
let me just say that I want to congratulate you guys coming to Parkinson years after and seeing the organization and the effort. Um, it inspired me to do a lot of other things. I remember coming there and seeing some youngsters doing some different things, and all this was just from the sheer hard work and dedication to these two guys. I wasn't around to see all the other players behind the scene, but the passion that these guys put behind Parkinson, I'm still in awe of it, and I just wanted to thank you guys and congratulate you guys for that. Um, I mean, I don't really want to go into my history at Parkinson like that, but yeah, as Johnny said, I won the teen talent. I was 12 going into 13, and real small. And I think one of the things that I need to give respect to always, teachers like Mike Cummins, um, who would have been at the annex at the time and would have been always trying to have sort of show or some sort of, he really worked hard with the choir and stuff like that. And we went from there to second form, and it was all about music. It was all about music all the time. I was always somebody who was into music, and I've had so much assistance along the way without people really knowing. I didn't want to tell on the teachers. But I remember Miss Griffith. I remember before Miss Griffith used to let me fiddle with the piano. I remember Miss Hunt came up to me and said she caught me trying to sing to my then girlfriend in the hall, trying to play hello, trying to learn the chords out of my ear and play Hello by Lionel Richie and sing to her. And I didn't catch on when everybody was scampering running because you were not supposed to mess with the piano. But after she caught me, she said, I would allow you, just don't share it. I would allow you to come in I would allow you to come in every morning if you want and mess with the piano. And I think things like that took me in the direction that I knew. Well, I knew that I wanted to be into music, but I think it took me more into the direction because people like her, people like Miss Griffith, people like Mr. Brooms, who I can't remember if he was a math teacher or not because he used to teach me math.
Math
But
teacher. Yeah.
Yeah, Brooms.
Math teacher.
Broom,
right,
broom, mass.
right. But Brooms was one of the people my transition from second form to like third form into fourth form. That when I wasn't doing well in math or anything like that, if I was somewhere that I'm not supposed to be, he would literally ease me into the music room and try to teach me the guitar, that kind of thing. He was a really good man for real. So I think that Parkinson obviously shaped me in many ways, and that's the reason why you will see me wearing my armband. I wish that I could give back a lot more to the school, but there's no way that I can really give back to the school how I should give back to the school. Real talk. I have had teachers. I remember one teacher saying, but you won't be able to sing forever because your voice, as you get older, your voice is cracked. And there was no other teacher that saw me that didn't encourage me, even if they were not interested in music as such, that didn't encourage me in continuing to sing. I remember the likes of so many concerts, as Janice said, in the school hall, the likes of Rosie Hunt, um, a lot of names that not there right now, but so many people. And one thing, hmm?
People like Lisa Howell
Lisa
as
Howell,
well.
yeah. But the one thing that stood out was the fact that so many people around Barbados didn't give Parkinson a chance with anything, but we started to come through with not just athletics, but with music. We had a decent choir. We had people who were interested in music who would dabble with instruments and stuff like that, and we had some very high quality concerts, in my opinion, and I was just real happy to be a part of that.
Okay, I know we're gonna come back. We can come back to you. I just want to remind viewers that the Kaiso and the Pine album was the first. Parkinson became the first school ever to have a calypso album. Uh, the compositions and arrangements of the whole Parkinson song was done by Randy Eastman. Then,
Yep.
if you remember when we had the
And
50th
Mr. Brooms
anniversary,
at the time. The principal at the time, Mr. Brooms as well too. He was
oh,
part of the
the
Parkinson.
principal just
Yeah.
then the chain link that our school had its own chain link, and took the picture as the school mapped out 50. Thank you for that as well. And I think, Randy, if I'm not mistaken, you utilized Edwin's song "The Whirling Sea" as part of that as well.
Yeah, that was the background music. I don't know if I ever remember that. It was a drone shot of the school, and we used all the children at the time to form the number 50 and the trident of Barbados. So that's on YouTube. So Parkinsonians, you can go on YouTube and look for that. Parkinson 50th anniversary human chain link is really an amazing video, and we utilize Edwin's song there. Very, 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 very impactful.
My long floor who is at the part-time teaching. Also went to school there. He has an associate degree in music. Kayla Thorpe, Kayla B. She also had a little stint up front for Crossfire. The youngest female finalist in the Soca Monarch competition, former semi-finalist as well. And I'm highlighting this so that when viewers look at this school, we are not just a school. This is a university in the Pine. Brother Coombs, I'm going to come to you because you have a story that I'm going to take a little time with, because your teachers said some things glowing about you, and anytime you can get an endorsement from Edwin Yearwood as a stage engineer, because Edwin got our ear, you don't miss nothing, you know. Edwin's one if you don't miss nothing. I ain't say that Gypsy Rodney, but you don't miss nothing musically. I will not say Edwin is a gypsy fella. You all would never hear me say that. Rodney, let's go back to theatre. How important is theatre, the drama side, and helping to build self-confidence and those principles in children? When we look at what theatre has done, what forced you to get into it, and how important is that as an important pillar to help children?
Well, it is definitely. Good evening again, because theater helps you to. It's like self-reflection, and when we actually got into it as finance, it was to allow the community of the Pine to have a self-reflection in terms of the issues that the community faced at the time. So in terms of the individual, it kind of serves the same purpose. It helps you to really see yourself. Sometimes you see yourself in a character played out in a character on stage. And it helps you to understand more about the nuances of your own self and your own character. And apart from that, it helps you build self-esteem and confidence. It's not an easy thing, and Edwin and Sheldon and young Tiffany will tell you it's not an easy thing to get up on a stage in front of people, and sometimes because you see people do it every day, you think it's easy. But it's not an easy thing, even myself. I mean, I've done a lot of talking as, former CEO for Pilots, and every time I had to go on the stage to talk in front of people, I've got the trembles, and sometimes people see you, they all looking all confident, but they don't know sometimes what's going on in your body behind the scenes. So to be able to get up in front of stage and to sing or to perform takes a lot of confidence and self-confidence and courage. So being on a stage all the time performing, whether it's theater, whether it's singing, whether it's dance, it helps to build that self-confidence in the individual. And I think it's really, really, really important.
Okay, thank you. Tiffany, I'm going to come back to you, and then I'm going to go straight into Combs. But a normal stage, I would have a script, and I say it's now time to read some credits. But the credits we're going to read is to listen to the music of the school. Randy, do you have anything? Play a song.
One of the songs, okay. Sheldon, which one should I play? Amborano or Kayla B? I leave that to you. I
Don't play.
We can go with Amber.
We go with Amber. Okay, so this is one of the songs from off of Kaisoni Pine. Brian, I know you're managing the back end, so you can tell me if the signal is coming in too hot, if I need to back up.
I the things you do are so misleading. Life could be so confusing. Avoiding all the signs and the warning. They say an apple a day will keep the dog away. But if I never see one yet, who's to blame? Should I cry in vain? You think I can't understand? I am a child, so you force my hand. Please tell me what to do. Should I waste a life or just wait on you? I am a child, only a child. I can't change it wrong. I'm never right because I am a child. Cause I am a child, only a child. My word is never heard. No matter how loud or soft I may cry, I am a child.
Thank you. Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Let me hear you, Janice. Let me hear you, Edwin. Let me hear you all.
Yeah.
Written by
Yeah.
Kevin. Yeah, I got that was written by Kevin Watson, arranged by myself. So very, very good song from Kevin and delivered by Amber Orano.
Now Amber is top class. Just let me say that Amber is top class. I'm a big fan.
Yeah.
Janice?
No, seriously.
Janice?
Even on Instagram, I made her miserable.
It's twice in the comments. Every time she put us on, everybody's be on there. Yo, that bad. Is it true? Is it true? Is it true?
Very, very good.
Janice?
So what is this youngster doing now? This person singing?
She is she's still writing and recording. She recorded her first original song at 13 years old. It's called Fighting, and she had a music video at the same time. Currently, she's doing her degree in software engineering, hopefully going to China this year to finish the latter part of the degree. And she's also writing more original music. She's changing up her style in terms of the style and genre of music she wants to do because she's understanding her voice differently. So just waiting to see where that goes and what she's going to bring to the street in terms of her original music now.
Excellent. Great.
Wow.
Very talented.
Good. Brother Coombs, I'm ready for you, Brother Coombs. Shamar.
Hey, good evening.
No, Shamar, listen to me. What I am pleased about was that I heard some glowing things from your teachers. But this whole thing of a stage engineer, people might hear about a sound engineer, and let's play devil's advocate. For we here in theater, we know what is a stage engineer. But for persons who don't know what that is, tell the world what a stage engineer does. Come on, carry that flag. Go ahead, Brother Coombs.
Basically, I ensure that the musicians on stage hear properly, basically.
Wow. As simple as that they hear properly. So you mean the monitors, when Edwin is up there performing, you make sure he can hear himself in monitors and all that?
Correct.
Oh, wow. And that's an integral part.
I make him very miserable if I can't hear. I be shouting across and things.
You serious, Edwin?
But that's the stage. That's the stage. If I can't hear, I can't perform. So I say that to say I don't mean to hug, but I say that to say that a lot of people they will not, if students are locked on, they would. I'm saying that to say that this is a very important career choice. A sound engineer, sound technician, stage technician, because you say stage, but he does more than stage. He does more than just the stage. But being again, I let him get into all that. But I'm just saying that I wanted to jump in there because I know a lot of people take like his job for granted, and a lot of people don't recognize the work that goes on behind the scenes with these people. You know, when you have major stars coming through Barbados, not just the local people. These guys make sure they are comfortable, you know. And I've heard Alicia Keys. I've heard so many people, really top artists, commending the job that these guys do, you know. So it's not easy, and it is one of the few career jobs that although you learn it, you really learning on the job, and the experience really comes on the job because you're dealing with so many different personalities. Like me now, when I can't hear myself, I used to get through a tantrum, and it used to depend on people like him to make sure that I am comfortable on stage, and those who do theater would know that too, because if you can't hear yourself, you can't really deliver as you would want to. So I just wanted to jump in there and commend him because to me it's one of those unique career choices that a lot of people overlook because they don't see the glamour with it, or they don't think it's something, they're not sure, they don't know about it enough.
Okay.
That's me.
So Shamar, you
Yeah,
can hear me, Shamar?
yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, now your days at Parkinson, and what was the turning point for you that segue you into this field? So at school, you were into what first? Let's go first, second, third form. What were you into, Shamar?
You don't want to. You don't
Shamar! Shamar!
want
Talk
to
to me,
trust me.
Rodney. Talk to me, Rodney.
Oh, God.
Ask us to vote.
I ain't really sure that I was into anything. Let's just put it that way.
You don't want to know the answer. Trust me.
Oh, good. That's a good political answer. So you were not into
He was in too much to mention, Al.
That's the man.
Okay, good, Rodney.
Very good, Rodney. Very good.
Those two men to the left of your screen, which is to the right of mine, they said something to you that made you make a turn. What was it? Do you remember?
There's so many things they said. Um, it, it's almost like how your parents is taught to you. That's how Eastman and Hope was. So Hope was like the daddy that strict. Hope like when you get in trouble, right? You go to Hope and Hope be like, Mr. Combs, this all he said to me. To whom much is given, much is expected. And he would turn out, walk away, and that's it. You know that. Pull out your socks. Eastman, no, he's the one. He's the one that can sit you down in the corner and give you a speech for about an hour. But yeah, like
So you had the best of both worlds.
basketball for us.
Oh, and then I was told that you were told to go in the hall and help pick up some equipment.
Yeah, I think that's where I kind of found the love and the passion for what I do now.
If I could, I want to give you how it happened, right? Because he didn't want to tell you how it happened. When they
No,
first, I used to go into the hall to set up for prayers. We didn't have the new equipment we have now, running the cables and whatever. So I felt the shadow over me and look up. Bad man Coombs. You look at me like, what are you doing? Marlo, what are you doing? So I look at this little man mad. So I see Shadow looking at me. I was like, I said, if you want to learn, you pull up your socks, dress properly, and you meet me here tomorrow at 7:30. 7:29 when I got there, next morning, he was there. He could tell you the rest of the story. That's how it started.
Whoa. Pull up your socks. So one guy called Edwin was trying to sing love songs in this hall, and my son pulled him up, and this guy came in. So this hall has lots of memories.
yeah,
Wow.
it really does.
So Mr. Combs, what was your first international gig? Because I'm hearing Edwin sing your praises. What was your first gig? And tell us all about that. Your first big international gig.
My first big international gig. I think my first show that I had done was vintage reggae with QSA, Quality Sounds Incorporated.
Wow.
Yeah, that was my first big show.
Tell me something. Have you ever heard the name Magnet Man?
Yes.
Magnet Man went to Parkinson, and I want people to know that. I don't know he's still based in England now, Magnet Man.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes. And again, Magnet Man came through. Mr. Brooms, Miss Green, and those. He was my year, Magnet Man doing great things. So Coombs, after that first show, working there on the regular, um, when you realize that you're actually going to be doing this song management for Marshall Montano, what was the feeling like for you?
It was more of a scary feeling
Wow,
because
scary.
scary.
They call me afraid.
Like you hear stories about how artists are, and you don't really understand until you are there.
Me, they're frightened. They call me.
It's
As they
like
call me, they're frightened.
so people see the glitz and the glamour and all the stardom, but you see everything else. You are, I mean, you're the first there and the last to leave. So we see
Wow, yeah.
almost everything. You're almost in a different world when you're about there. A
Okay.
whole
I
other
want to
world.
go to Rodney. Rodney, Mr. Coombs has gone into a field that is behind the scenes, even in
Mm.
theater. A lot of persons that came through Parkinson work behind the scenes. You mentioned Parkinson. And how can we encourage young people to see a career in the arts? Not everybody can't be a singer, everybody can't be a lead actor or actress up front, but the importance of being part of the process. Look, Janice worked as a background vocalist, and if called on, she can still do that. But and Edwin would have done both. People don't even know Edwin would have been background vocalist on many songs. Rodney, the importance of looking at those other skills apart from being in the limelight.
Mhm. Um, but definitely, Alf. I mean, there's so many behind the scenes people that you don't see and even singing choir songs outside I mean productions outside the theater. You have a whole production team that you don't see. You got sound engineers, you got lighting engineers, you got the technical director. There's the person who almost anchors the whole show. You got stage managers, stage hands. All these are important people. And even before the actual show, you got set designers, you
Yep.
got lighting designers. So you got somebody who designed the lighting scheme, and then somebody who actually come and run the technical lights on United production. So these are people you don't see. You got set construction people who construct the set. And without all these people, you will never got a final product. So I mean, a production, whether it's theater production or singing production or concert, whatever, have so many important people behind the scenes. Even the men who live in just the stage levels to make sure you got something to stand up on and sing. These are important people because somewhere in there, there's an engineer. Because if you watch any finals night at the stadium, you got cars driving on top of the stage. You got trucks sometimes going across the stage. And if you don't have a good engineer that makes sure that stage is technically sound, you could almost got something collapsing because underneath that stage, you got dressing rooms. You understand? So, I mean, important people that you don't see. So there's so many behind it. Before the production, during the production, and then after the production. Because even after the production, you got men who strike that ain't got nothing. That come back and strike that ain't doing nothing but the production going on. Men that come and strike the light, strike the stage, strike the song. So I mean, Lord of mercy, man. You got so, and you just gotta watch a film. If you watch a film on TV, you see all the credits coming down. You can almost imagine a lot of the people who are involved in the technical aspect of a production. So I mean, there's so much to be out there to be done. I really proud of the guys. I mean, I know her, I know Randy, I know Sheldon, but to see all the people that they would have impacted on. I mean, and these people we overlook. And when we
Yep.
do all these national awards and independence things, I mean, because I find we like to do these things for old people, and then nothing
Old
wrong with
people.
that. Yeah, we got to deal with the old people calling me I a little heading me, half heading towards that direction. So, we got to do things for the old people too, but we got young men like Sheldon and Randy doing outstanding things and impacting the lives of people. Now, when you listen to the story Randy just told, with this young man, now if Randy didn't say what he said to him, who knows what direction Mr. Coombs would have gone in. You understand? If he had the kind of character to see that maybe he had potential and pull he in a kind of abstract way. You know what I mean? So we really gotta big up people like Randy and Sheldon and all the teachers out there who take the time to pay a lot extra interest, you know, and they do outstanding job, you know. So big up guys and continue.
Right. I want to go back to the two teachers here, Randy and Sheldon. Uh, Let us also now look at your vision for Parkinson 10 years down the road. Randy, like I said, by the way, guys, there's a block which is the one facing CBC, and through the nudging of persons like Randy, backed by Sheldon Hope, that's a tag team. Don't get between two of them here. I'm told, Edwin, and I'm told, Rodney, that they're actually going to transform up there into a full music block. My only concern, fellas, is there space over there for drama? Do
Let
you
me
have
correct.
that in your plan?
Let me correct you. It's an entertainment facility, and there are three
Wow.
names.
Okay.
There are three names that I posited for the naming of the building, and I wouldn't divulge that as yet. I wouldn't because one of the persons is on this panel, right?
One of the
Because
persons.
is on this panel right now. And for me, he's one of the greatest of all time. Everybody sounds like their name called greatest of all time too. But we won't give too many details on that. Mrs. Hope can speak. Mr. Hope can speak to that building and that project because that has a lot of emotional things attached to it for me. But I will let Mr. Hope expound on that.
Yeah. Okay.
Mr. Eastman would have written a proposal back in, I believe it was 2009, about there, to the then principal, Mr. Orson Alling, in relation to the building which was left because of some pollution on the highway, and it was affecting teachers, etc. So they vacated that building. It was just left there. And Eastman in 2009 about there wrote a proposal, said, well, look, can't we do something with this building? And it was just left there. And then I believe last year it was through again some agitation from Mr. Eastman and a couple other persons to bring the building back on stream. As I said before, a lot of what we see now, we certainly have to thank. There are so many persons who would have paved the way before Eastman and I got there. We had Mr. Thorne, who would have been there just prior to my coming, and I would have met Miss Tony Stewart. She would have been on staff teaching music at the time. We had Mr. Leon. We had Mr. Vincent Brooms, who was head of mass, but also a music teacher as well. We had Mr. Winston Messiah, who was head of science, but also a guitarist and a musician. And we also had Farrakhan Stevens as well in there. And now it is with the evolution of over all those years, and Mr. Eastman now moving on into the ministry, doing what he really loves doing, implementation and creating policy for teachers. We now have Mr. Mylon Clark, who was an old scholar of the school, and Mr. Eastman would have taught him when he was there as a student. And we now have Mr. Ian Webster, who was seconded from Springer over to the Parkinson School, and they have taken what Mr. Eastman has left and ran with it. As I said, my focus has shifted now to administration.
I don't know.
So I kind of have to balance the two. But the administration plays a greater role in my life at this time. But I'm still involved. But Mr. Webster and Mr. Clark now have really gone ahead full steam with the proposal that Mr. Eastman would have left there at the school to turn that building into a full arts area, music, theater arts, the full works. And so we're very pleased for the help that we're receiving from Goddard's and from the ministry. Goddard's came on board to assist with that project. So we're very grateful to the Goddard's company and to the Ministry of Education for seeing it fit to give Parkinson something like this, because Parkinson is known for the arts, and we can run the gamut of all the disciplines: dance, and we didn't even talk about dance, but dance, drama, music, and the list goes on for those persons who have really excelled. And I'm just happy to see the students that we've been able to impact and to see them go on. I always say to them all the time, the student will become greater than the teacher. So I am so pleased when I see my students who I've taught. It reminds me, one, I'm getting older, and 43, I can still keep up with them. We'll see how much longer that works out. But I'm grateful for the students that we've been able to be a small part of their progress at this time, and they've gone on. And a lot of them don't ever forget Parkinson School. They come back and they give back to the school. Um, Even other old scholars, Mr. Dorsey Boyce, no matter what we have at the school, Mr. Grant, no matter what is going on, they support, whether it's sponsorship, whether it's in-kind sponsorship. Edwin, whenever he's available, they make themselves available to the school, and we can never even say thank you enough to all those persons.
I want to support what Shelby said in that regard to Alf. Thank you to the scholars who would have played a role to make things happen at the school. And with regard to the facility, like I said, it's a fully integrated entertainment facility. This will be a catalyst for Parkinson because the level of technology that is going to be integrated into that facility and the rooms, we're going to have computer music, a theater and drama section where persons can rehearse. What we call a demonstration theater, Mr. Holt, right? We have two computer labs in there. There's a large steel pan room. There's a band rehearsal room. There's so many things going into the camera, everything, but it really is fully integrated and is going to be a catalyst for the other, because I think Parkinson probably will be the first, if it is done in the way that is intended, to have something like
Wow.
that fully dedicated to the arts.
Awesome. Awesome.
Dedicated to the arts.
Awesome.
Another first.
I want to say, Alf, and congratulate the guys on this move. And to say that Parkinson is not only catalyst for this in Parkinson, but I think Parkinson setting a trend for what should become the new type of school going forward in the future. Because I always
Amen.
thought that we should have specialist schools. So if Parkinson become the specialist school for the arts, why don't you still do some of the maths and English and stuff? And then maybe a school that is excelling in sports, you're building the kind of facilities to support sports. I always thought this should be the way to go. So I think Parkinson is setting the trend for what should become the new type of school going forward into the future. So well done, fellas. Well done.
Great.
Well,
Congrats.
Janice and Edwin, how do you all feel about this? Looking at your school, I mean, look at where we have come from. You all would have done music. All what is good boys deserve food. Some eat grass. All this music thing. Good boys deserve food. Yes, Edwin, and you go in there with Miss Greenhouse, and you have to bring to school. Everybody had to bring to school a recorder. I use the recorder but once. Edwin, you had a recorder, Janice. How do you feel about what is happening with Parkinson now? Two of you.
You go ahead, Evan.
Go ahead.
Well, this is amazing. I am blown away. Exciting. Again, doubly, triply happy to be a part of what's happening here. I speechless. This is amazing. This is something for other schools to envy us about. So good going, guys. Congratulations for coming up with this initiative. Let's keep going.
Edwin.
I could say many things about this. I'm really proud, especially I know the passion that these two guys especially have um, in seeing changes, in seeing people become more focused on the art forms around. I think that there's so much potential in something like this that it's you just have to smile, because I wanted to touch on something like Phil Phillips, who used to be my manager, who went to Parkinson as well, and through the connection with Crossfire, he was actually the entrepreneur of the year in Barbados, and he was able to turn over numbers and help us to see the business aspect of it. So for me, this kind of thing is the right step, because it's going to give students what we didn't have in terms of the know-how to an extent, you know. It will encourage a lot of people because I travel all over the world, and one of the things, especially when I'm in the Caribbean, I'm doing music interviews or I'm doing radio interviews or press conferences. I try to drive home the ideals across 5 4 years ago, where we see it as a business, where we see it as a career option, and not just somebody having fun, you know. So for students to walk into Parkinson Secondary School and have that facility, I think they will wake up one time saying, "Wow, this is something I am confident enough to spread my wings or to take on this. I want to be this. I want to be that musically, in theater, whatever the case may be." So this is awesome.
Parkinson School of Theater. Randy, we're going to
It will
take a
help
break. And you know what that break means for you, Randy? Uh, Fix me up in 1 minute. Let's pause for a musical call. Father?
Okay, so I'm going to be playing a song called Our Disease by Caleb E. It was written by Fabian Bartlett, and she was a semi-finalist in the Junior Calypso Monarch. I don't remember the year, but Our Disease.
This disease, boy. Let me tell you about it. I Barbados, wake up, open your eyes. No longer a deception or a disguise. Back in 1985, it was then that we realized HIV has started to destroy people's lives. Lockdown 2013 and beyond. Over 3,000 Barbadians done gone. HIV is wiped them out. No hesitation, no doubt. It is high time that we put our thinking caps on. It belongs to we. This disease belongs to we. Now we need to change our mentality. It belongs to we. Just please wake up and see. Get tested, stick to one person, and no more condomization, and save this country from HIV.
Wow. Whoa, whoa, whoa,
Nice,
whoa, whoa,
nice,
whoa,
nice,
whoa,
nice,
whoa,
nice.
whoa. Tiffany, what are your career goals now? What are you up to? I mean, you have heard all these stories. You're doing this. When you go out to perform, yes, I know primarily it is for the advancement of the kingdom. But how do you feel when you're hearing all of these stories? Understand that foundation you have that you've built on. How do you feel now?
I'm happy to hear all the good feedback from everyone. It's exciting to hear all these stories where everyone have came from, and I realized that everyone started from somewhere to get to where they are now. Yeah.
Okay. Brother Coombs, I know that you are flying all over the place. Remember, the next time you're out there, you need to send the limousine to Rodney and myself. I don't know, we might get the limo, and we know that you're going to send a private jet for Randy. And so just remember me and Rodney. You understand?
But
We
for
don't make
I want driving one that bad.
you understand? How are you feeling now, Shamar? You're in this forum with your teachers. You're in your forum with some of these persons you would have looked up to. How are you feeling now, Shamar?
I mean, I ain't sure to explain how I'm feeling.
Underpaid.
That's always one. But no, it is exciting and fun to work with people that you looked up to when you were growing up. To be in the same industry, working at I won't say the same level, but working at the same level as like Mr. Eastman and Mr. Hope and Edwin. Edwin was singing before I was born.
Kick him out
Oops.
the chat.
Oh man.
So
Oh man.
so then when I got the opportunity, like we just finished working on Edwin's birthday party the other day. Like that was amazing, like getting to see his thinking process behind how he and Nicholas Frankel worked on some of these songs, and it's just amazing.
Yeah. Who is your role model in that particular field you are in? If there was one person, yeah, I want to create that song environment like that person. Who is it?
Well, there's really no one person. There's a whole bunch. I can't call names because then somebody might feel like I left them out. I
It's
just
okay.
want to create a good experience for the artist and the listener. That was just my end goal.
He didn't want to tell you that he don't look up to nobody because a sound engineering is a very personal, egotistical thing, right? The, Anybody who does not have a big ego coming into sound engineering will not make it. I believe that strongly. So the fact that he has gotten to where he's gotten, right? You have to have that bravado because at the end of the day, you don't want it's like years ago when we would be really in some huge events, like we performing in Germany at this music festival, and our engineer, somebody criticizing the engineer because he ain't got as much bottom as the German band or the band from Ireland, but he had such a sweet mix that all of them
Hmm.
came to him after and said, "Whoa, that is so clean." You know, especially for a band playing as loud as Crossfire would play, to have it clean like that, you know, and a lot of that is you getting up and saying, "This, yes, I respect that you are the entertainer or you are the artist or what's not, but I am here to make you sound good. Trust me, leave me, let me do what I gotta do." We score bad. People like me and Sean, we score bad. But at the end of the day, it's just like you're going to a doctor. You have to respect that that is his field and just take the vaccine.
Funny
Um,
enough, you said that.
I
I
want
was
that.
talking to Eastman today,
Yeah.
and I was telling him I did a cruise a while back, 2 years ago, and when I got there,
Don't. It was Barry Thomas Cruz. He was humble, right? He don't want to say what he does. It was Barry Thomas Cruz. He was the stage
Barry
engineer.
Thomas.
Yes, he was the stage engineer for Barry Thomas 2 years ago. Go ahead, Shamar.
right, for the cruise, I was working tech, and when I got there, because you are from the Caribbean, and I don't want to say it, but sometimes because you're black,
Yes.
some people look down on you, and you have to show them that you deserve to be in the same space as them. So when you go there, you can go and half do something. When you
Correct.
go there, you gotta go there and show them that, you know what, I deserve to be here just as much as you or more.
Alf, I wanna interject here
Oh,
as well too. Because
go ahead.
I wanna herald Shamar because it's taking me back to when he was at school. And Shamar started at QSI at age 16 or 15 as an intern. It was 15 Coombs. He was in fifth form, yeah.
Yeah.
I took him to QSI and because he had the interest. He grew over the time. From the time he asked me, "Was that you doing?" and I invited him to come and start learning how to do it. He became an intern at QSI as an engineer. He eventually went on to be warehouse manager at QSI and leading the team in terms of the technical setup for all the national events. When you look at Soca Monarch, when you look at Pickety Crop, you would have seen Shamar there as long as QSI had the contract to work, right? From there, well, even before then, I noticed that he has something special. I remember I was an event coordinator for the NCF doing cavalcades, and Shamar was about 19 working with QSI and now getting in the field. And as he said, he probably didn't have the respect of people because he was so young, coming from Parkinson as well. You know, who's this little man? Who's this little man coming? You know, so he told a particular musician, I'm not going to identify the instrument. I don't want to point out any worse. And he said, your instrument is too loud going in right now. So the guy was like, he kept playing. Well, you can't tell me nothing, you know. So I am down by the mixing board producing this event, and I see Shamar walk across the stage. There's a national event, and turn off the amplifier. I mean, switched off and walked off. And that guy had to understand at that point in time. I told you, your instrument is too loud. You need to turn it down. I mean, I was cool and calm, And from that moment, I said to myself, "See that boy? He's going to." Evan said he has the bravado, and he's being humble right now. He had that from school. I don't know if Evan remembers. And when he back to when you came to sing at Parkinson, we had a
Yeah.
concert. He was playing bass guitar. right?
Yep.
And at school, I would ask Shamar permission to use particular instruments or particular lanes because I gave him the responsibility. We had a tech team, and he would do the setup. It would say, Shamar, can we add 2 lines for keyboard? Somebody bring in a keyboard player. He would say, no, it can't work. I asked Mr. Hall, if Coombs said it can't work, it is not happening. Like, there's nothing you can do to change his mind. Given that autonomy and that responsibility, and that is how he operated, and that's something that we saw in him from young, and is now coming to being. And that bravado was in him from the time he was at school. So Shamari won't herald you in front of everybody, in front of Barbados. You're very humble. You don't want people to know what you do. You're an amazing person, one, and you're an amazing engineer. You're fantastic at what you do. Because he spends the time to learn. People need to give people like him the respect for the things that he does. So I'm commending you
Thank you.
publicly. Oh my gosh.
I
Thank
want
you.
to
Well
ask
said.
a
Well said.
question. I want to ask a question here, especially to Edwin, Janice, and Rodney. Um, I believe there is a persona that says Parkinson. I'll tell you what I mean. And we're not being cocky here. I've seen Edwin on stage. Let's do it backstage first. But then when he gets on stage, he transforms. I've seen Rodney Grant say nothing in the corner. Then when he put on the director's hat, I've heard Rodney says, listen, you know what, I come out there and beat all the jokes myself. I do all the scripts myself. He transformed into this persona of excellence. Janice Mullins now ain't just an ordinary insurance woman. She decided that she went to
Diva.
top. You have Coombs, you have Magnet Man. There is this type of persona that comes out of Parkinson that people might say cocky, but ain't that is that the Parkinsonian, the state pride, because we understand that this is a school that people are looking down on all the time, and we are showing them that we can be equal with anybody else up there. I want you guys, Janice, Rodney, and Edwin, to speak about that. When people say, "Oh, you just passed the Parkinson," and then we walk out that school and we go on a stage or we take over something. What is that message that we are sending? I want only the three of y'all to speak about that. Janice, Edwin, and Rodney, because the teachers will have done part. Let me hear you three of y'all.
Go, Janice.
So, so I guess it going the order you call it.
I
Yeah.
thought so.
You got me on the spot. That's a good observation though. You know, I guess it's a lot of the teaching and a lot of what we went through and me going to school sports and being looked at as just Parkinson and as you said, would have just passed for Parkinson and we just one of them down there schools. You know, that always used to bother me. And I was always determined to succeed and succeed on whatever it is I decided to do. The goal was to be the best at whatever it is you decide to do, right? And I'm glad for this forum because I mean, I get to find out a lot of great people actually went to Parkinson and not all the other names that we hear. So hail Parkinson. I am just more than proud right now. Happy to be a Parkinsonian again. So as I said, it stemmed from all of those days being looked down upon as the school, the other school, and deciding to be excellent, deciding to excel in your field. So that has been my thing. You see, man, I wouldn't change it for the world. Just try to
Thank you,
excel.
Edwin.
I would say to all the youngsters at the school, excel in whatever field you choose.
Edwin.
Um, for me, for me, growing up, Parkinson Secondary School, not one particular teacher or not the next. Parkinson Secondary School played like a good 50% of the role in my determination and my character. The entire environment. Um, I was at school in the times where police used to have to come in the art room and them places and take out criminals who would come into school doing nonsense. Who would be bullying children. Um, where some children stood up for themselves and ended up with bad names because of the violence and stuff like that. We were known for nothing positive. That's the best way to put it. So for me, the guidance that teachers and the support that teachers gave me, because I don't think anyone in particular said, Edwin, you can be better or whatever, whatever, whatever. They always said, if this is what you want to do it, which to me was more important than anything else, you know. And I sorry that Mr. Hope wasn't one of my teachers, because I know him, I know him for a little while, and I know what he gives. I know what both of these guys give, and unfortunately, we didn't have that. But what we had was a group of teachers that saw the school, wanted to see the school first, whether it was sports, whether it was arts, you know. And I mean, Miss Nels knew I was singing. And Miss Nels will always come with she pretty accent. You know, you can't really be a singer if you don't write your own songs, you know. And by the way, you have the worst handwriting in the school. She will tell you them things, right? And encourage you, right? For me to see Parkinson Secondary School standing as it is standing now, because I know in first and second and third form, the stigma that was attached to Parkinson unfairly, where other big schools at the time were having the same kind of fights and that kind of thing. Parkinson and the community at the time around Parkinson, so enough respect to Rodney for this as well. Where Pinelands Creative Workshop used to always come in and play a role, and I think to this day they still do. You know, all these things made Parkinson a little bit more of a together unit without recognizing that we are together. You know, we didn't have pride in the school years ago if somebody go on the stage, but no. But as I was growing up, you would hear somebody say, "You're from Parkinson," and I would have to also say, I get goosebumps saying it. I would also have to say that in the early stages, going up for like a straight 7 years, the people in front of me were not only classmates and people that used to be the prefect of the school and stuff like that. It was almost like people couldn't wait to get out of school to come to a Crossfire concert or to get out and be a part of what was going on. And I thought that we and a lot of other Parkinson entertainers and artists had that back end. We didn't really feel it as Parkinson, but when you look back, you recognize that the audience was full of Parkinsonians. And I think that's the way to go right now. I think that we have reached a stage where we are truly proud of what we do as a school. When you hear former students talking as if they're still there at the school, is awesome. I always give Carl Alf his props, because I think that he's one of the driving forces behind what happens at the school one way or the other. You know, so I think to go from here is only going to be going strength to strength to strength, and I'm just glad to be a part of it in any little way.
Thank you, Ronnie. Before you speak, a couple years ago, I received the award for being the anti-drug ambassador of Barbados, Victor Roach, who's now deceased. And Edwin had just come back. When did you just come back? Randy and Sheldon know that is with Edwin. He's got a bike at airport. We close, and then he's just going to 15 minutes and go back there. So they called him and they said, Edwin, I want you. He said, Mama, I just get off the plane, just kind of Trinidad, Antigua. I'm sure if I can come. I feel the plane with my emotions, Janice. And I am there about to go on the stage to receive this award. And Edwin drove in. And it's close. And I felt honored because Edwin has supported me. People can argue, but you're just an MC, you're just into that. But Edwin has recognized from every sense that even what I do as MC, what I do as comedian and dramatist is important to the whole cultural landscape as well. And I want to thank you for that, Edwin, because that is a career choice. Drama. And that's what propelled you, even with Rodney. Rodney would tell the story of P was for Pine, Perry, prison, and Parkinson. Nothing good is supposed to come out of them things. Rodney, I give you 2 minutes to speak about that. The importance of what you were supposed to contribute on, but go into the partnership with Pinelands and Parkinson.
Lord of mercy. Alf, you give me a lot of trouble in 2 minutes. Anyhow, I think as the oldest on this panel, I came to Parkinson at the time when Mr. Bowen was the headmaster. And I don't think none of you all would have been there in Bowen time. You know? And just on the heels of Malcolm Marshall and people like Desmond Sands and Barry and these guys, I came just on the heel of them. Actually, I used to admire and watch them playing cricket, and I ended up actually playing round three for Parkinson. And I tell that story because at the time when I came to Parkinson, sports was the driving force. And I'm glad Edwin talked about that connection with the community because Parkinson was wrapped up in that negative image that the Pinelands community had. So that when we played, I played round three cricket, and I played then round three cricket for Parkinson, and I represented Parkinson in football. And just like it was our mission using Pinelands Creative Workshop to as a driving force to change how people saw the community, it was our driving force at Parkinson to show people that we matter. So at the time, sports was our passion. So when we went out to represent Parkinson in round three cricket or football, we make sure that we went out to beat everybody to show them that look, this school got class players in both cricket and football. And we represented, I mean, we had some outstanding soccer players like John Hall and Woody from Carrington Village and the we had an outstanding football team. We had Potato, John Cole, Pinelands players. In fact, 90% of the Pinelands team used to play for Parkinson, and the other
Yeah,
10 or 15% used to come from Carrington Village. So we
we
had
from
a
Basic
combined
Courses.
team between Carrington Village, exactly, and the Pine. So we had one of the most outstanding soccer teams at Parkinson. When we turn up, people used to tremble. And we use that to show them that look, we ain't coming to make this sport. We're representing one of the best universities in Barbados, Parkinson University. So it started from there. That drive to show people that Parkinson mattered. So it didn't start with the culture. It started with the sports. It started with the cricket, with the football, and also the netball. Because we used to come out and defend. You had Sandra Ferguson, Marion Johnson. You had the some girls from down there in Princess Royal, man. I mean, Lord have mercy. We had, and again, almost half of Pinelands netball team used to play for Parkinson. So we had an outstanding netball team that was a force to reckon with. And then you had Melick Berry and them that are real fast. So we had runners, we had outstanding netball team, outstanding cricket team, outstanding football team. So before we get to the sports, Parkinson was a force to reckon with in terms of sports, and that's where he came in first. They came in with the cricket and football. So and it was always a joy to go there and beat people in Parkinson there. It was a joy to us because we had to show them that look, we mattered, we mattered, and I'm really glad to see where Parkinson came from through the years. I mean, to me, it's one of the most outstanding schools. It produced some outstanding Barbadian people. And I mean, we are on the map forever. But I can't take me off the map, though. Parkinson to the world. Bless.
Thank you, Rodney.
Correct.
Wow, wow. That's a perfect way to do a break. And after this song from Quantum Production, Randy, I'm going to give all of you 30 seconds to wrap up because we have to wrap up by 7:30. Um, but this is just so awesome. This information. Maybe sometime in the future we may have to do a part two. And yeah, but Randy, play something, buddy.
All right, so you're gonna be listening to Sammy Sosa, My Calypso from the album Kaiso in the Pine.
This is one big shame, taking it for a game. Them matching up my hard form. Music must live on. We must keep pressing on, taking it to a higher level. So I decide I can take a chance. I decided to sing and dance. Whoa, to calypso, my sweet calypso. To calypso, my sweet calypso. Music, play we must feel the beat. You have no choice but to move your feet. Whoa, to calypso, my sweet calypso. To calypso, my sweet calypso.
Thank you, Randy. We're through. It is 7:26. I just want to remind you as well that Mr. Messiah taught guitar in a small room at the school, and he and John Mardor started a band in 1992. That's a little nudge there for you. I
Correct.
Sheldon can remember. So I'm going to start the young people first. You have 30 seconds. We are wrapping up. Tiffany, Shamar, and then we'll decide among the rest who is the youngest of the lot to then speak. Tiffany, in 30 seconds. Uh, Parkinson at 60. How are you feeling? Go ahead. 30 seconds.
Proud. I'm feeling proud and happy. I want to thank each and every teacher, everyone here for contributing what they have done to inspire and help me along the way.
Thank you. Shamar, 30 seconds.
I don't know what to say. I'm proud. Just never let a boy tell you that you can't. That's it.
Thank you. Janice?
Well, anyway, this is rebranding. What we're doing here is rebranding. We're rebranding, and I'm loving it. So I'll keep doing what you're doing, keep pushing this vibe. I love what's happening. The new teachers, the old teachers, you guys are responsible for all of this. So, all you people who move it forward, we appreciate it. And thanks, and keep going. Good luck.
Sheldon?
I turned on my stopwatch. So, on to what Mr. Grant was saying. The stigma is very much still there, but it can be broken through discipline. And that has always been my hallmark. You got to be disciplined. And Eastman and I would have these little back and forths. My hope the choir sound real good. Let me get them out. No, they're not ready. And they would call choir rehearsal, and we would sit down, and they would watch me, and I would watch them. We ain't singing a note, because I want to know that you can stay still. Because when you go out, you can't be running all over the place. You gotta be ready for your rendition. And those are the kind of things that was instilled in that music room with the choir and with the band, because Eastman felt it necessary for the students to be able to play. And that was one of his big things as well, to create a space for the students to learn instruments. We've done a lot. And as I said, the foundation that was laid for us, we've built upon. And now for those that are coming after us, Mr. Clark and Mr. Webster, to run with it and to move on. So I'm grateful for the opportunity that I've had to impact in a positive way in the lives of the students that I've been able to meet over the last 15 years.
Randy, 29 and a half seconds.
I just want to say thank you to Parkinson for giving me the opportunity to share the gift of music with the students, and a line from the school song: onward, Parkinsonian, onward to the fight, onward, ever upward, upward to the light, never ever give up.
Thank you. Rodney, 30.
Al, people ask me about my school year when I went to Parkinson, when I left, and truly, I really can't remember. And I really don't care. What's important to me is that I went to Parkinson, and I think that's what matters. And and that's how I feel about the school, and I think that's how every person should feel about Parkinson. It's a good place to be. It's a good place to get education. It's a good place to meet friends. It's a good place to earn a career. So it really don't matter to me if I went in '94 and in 2005. All I know is that I went to Parkinson, and I feel blessed for the time that I had there. So I give thanks. Yeah.
Edwin, 30 seconds.
You can see my 30 seconds. I am very happy. I'm proud to be a part of this panel, and I'm excited because I know that there are people on this panel who will commit to Parkinson one way or the other. It's okay to talk about us, but it's more important to recognize that Parkinson is still a place for young children learning and coming through. And whatever we could possibly do to make to be proud of Parkinson, for them to be proud being a Parkinsonian, we need to do. So I appreciate being on this panel, and I'm hoping for bigger and better things for everybody.
Although I couldn't remember that every good boy deserves food or all cows eat grass, I am proud to have been an alumni student at heart and love of Parkinson. 2544512. This has been a big piece production, and we want to thank Pat Doyle and all of those Brian Kanda who put this all together. Parkinson to the world. Tiffany, can you take us out on a nice gospel song? Sing something as we break, Tiffany. Dig deep,
All
Tiffany.
right.
This is you. You're the future. Go ahead. Sing something.
Mercy said, no, I'm not gonna let you go. I'm not gonna let you fade away. You don't have to be afraid. Mercy said, no. Sin will never take control. Life and death must fade away. Darkness tries to fade my heart away. Mercy said, no.
Boom. Parkinson at City. Happy anniversary, everybody. God bless. Brian, back to you. Thank you very much, everybody. And
Guys.
Thank you.
this is going to be on YouTube. This is going to
No
be on
problem.
Facebook. Go on YouTube, type in, and yeah, share it with everybody. Thank you.
Thank you.
And they say, hey, 60 years are moving. And they say, hey, from Parkinson we head.